Hey, welcome back to another video series on my channel. On this one, I wanted to replace the convertible top on my 2006 Ford Mustang. Welcome to part 2, installation and the final product. Okay, here's my new top. Be careful of the rear window, dumbass. Oh. Just gonna try and lay it down here approximately where it goes. Gotta get this part, that rear window. The channel, and looks like what they got is just like a little arrow. Push it into this channel. I'm gonna try and get that in right now. I read or I heard it was hard to do, and it seems to be. Push in the bottom. see that this needs to go in, and I'm just using the scraper here. Push it all the way in. Get it in there right? I don't think so. I think I got the bottom, not the top. I don't know. And say if you have it in there right, you should be able to slide it back and forth in the track, and nope, no sliding. Okay, maybe so. Not easily though, so I'm going to try to make it even on the sides here. Okay. Now we do the same thing with this one. And if you see this, it's like a little arrow, and you have to get the top part in the channel and then the bottom part. So let's make sure everything's in properly. Still not sure I did it right over here, but making sure the top is hooked in. Okay, now I got this thing put in here. I got these put in the channels, and I'm going to overlap those with this. I hope that's right. And get these back in. The short one goes on the front. Alright, my eBay top did not come with a channel for the cable here, and no string either inside of it, so I took, but it does have an exit hole, so I sent my fish wire up through here, and approximately where the wire comes out, and I'm gonna put a little hole here and try and pull the cable through. Hopefully that works, because I don't know where else to run it. There's nowhere. Hopefully that's right. And we got to be super careful here. Okie dokie. So I got the hole in there. Okay, I'm using this end, and I've just wrapped some twist tie in here, and hopefully it will go through the hole that I made. And try number 2. Hey, got it out. I don't know if that's right, but that's what I'll do on the other side. Alright, we got the cables put into the sides and they come out here. Need to connect those up onto the springs that are back there. Well, this is out, the U-bar is out, and got the spring connected. Need to put this piece back on, and it sits like this down there on those two bolts. So let's try and get the cable back on here, or get it back on the cable. And there's a little bit of a channel here. Not sure. Yeah, so you just kind of hit it in the channel there and try and pull it in. Probably should do it this way. And pull. Come on, baby. There. I think I got it. There we go. So we'll put that in there so we don't forget. We'll do the same on the other side. And I've said this about 1,000,000 times, but this is an eBay top and it does not come with any kind of guideline, so I've been trying to wing it. My old top is not the same, so I'm not done stapling, but it's just going to be interesting to see what it looks like when it's done. Okay, here's the other one. So it's going to sit this way. Let's see. And this is the side that I fixed the cable. Where are you? Jeez. Not sure why that was harder on this side. Probably because I have it stapled or something. So obviously I didn't get the staple in right over there. I'm just using this staple gun, but I mean, I don't even said, I don't know for sure where any of this is supposed to be, so I stapled this one where there's about 3 inches of fabric left, which is probably going to be wrong because it's kind of how much is left over here. Well, maybe not. It's a little less than that, so tried to find the yeah, I have no idea. If you look at this, yeah, how much of this fabric is going to be sitting on top once you get this bar underneath, and it goes fairly deep, so if I have this one too far down, this is gonna be floppy. If I get it too far up, then it's gonna be super tight, and then this part here, you know, who knows whether it's gonna be tight or loose, so I really don't know. So on this side, I'm just gonna try and keep 3 inches here from the bottom, and hope that turns out to be right. I don't know if you can judge anything by how much sag is in here. If you've never done this before, I'm sure you can't, so which would be me and most people who are probably watching this trying to do it themselves. So I'm just gonna go for it, and then when I test it, when I put the bar back in, when I test it, I think that's where I might have to dig it back out and try not to rip it, but maybe I can test it that way. So right now everything looks, you know, fairly loose up there, but this isn't in, and it should theoretically tighten up once this goes in. Then when I've got it stapled, I might draw a line on it before I put it in the channel, and then I can, based on the wrinkles, maybe I can judge how much to move it depending on where it shows. Looks like I totally missed the bar. Horrible job here. But as someone said, this is real world stuff. top. I don't know if you can verify with them somehow that it has the line. You'll probably be better off. Alright, I got it stapled to the best of my guessing ability, and what I was going to do is mark where the top of this bar is, where I installed it, so I have some kind of idea if I need to make an adjustment, where if there's wrinkles, maybe I'll be able to see if I can move it up or down from where I had it. I'm not sure how they do this when they make these. Do they have a test car that they put it in, or do they just have measurements from the window? I don't know. But this will be a test. Hopefully I don't have to take it back out, but now's probably a better time to mark it. Okay, I've got a line now. Seen some people mark where this seam was. Probably should have done that, but go from the center. Hopefully they end up in the right place. What should I do? Should I put more staples in here on the side, or should I just go for it? Looks like I need one here. Oh yeah. Oh boy, that's crazy. clue. Well, that was kind of scary. Alright, after you get the top stapled and stuck back in the back of the channel back there, you gotta hook up these two bolts right here on both sides that go into the U-bar to lock that down, and they're annoying to get to. And don't forget to put the cable guide back on the silver part, which goes like shown. And those bolts are in the back seat area on both sides. Alright, now we can start putting things back together here. And one of the things we took off was this strap that goes on the back side of this bolt right here. It just pushes on, and that holds the inside headliner. And then we got all this extra fabric right here, and here you can see the velcro, another thing that was removed earlier to get the top off. So that goes, you gotta feed it up here, and that goes around this bar, around the bar like that. Right. I think that looks right, because basically there's all this extra fabric is creating a pocket down here. And then there's the other side of this fabric. There's a push pin that you need to put back in on the back of this front bolt here. And let me dig it out of there. This is the pin that goes in here. There's a reinforced part here that this goes into. I get the pin put in there, and then, like I said, it goes here in the front of these two bolts. So, I mean, in the front bolt, and there's a there's a section in here to press it into, like that, and then just press it in all the way, and that's attached now with the Velcro and this front piece. I removed, put this back now. I removed this weather stripping here to make it easier to get to this part. So I'm gonna put it back in. It just pulls off. There we go. So that channel's back in. Velcro's back on. That push pin's back in, and now we need to work on these side pieces here. Put those back in, and this part here wraps around one of the first pieces, and then we'll show that, I hope. I did put this bar back on and I managed to lose a bolt. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 11, and I lost one. I thought I had them all in the footwell, and I didn't. So now I'm going to put these side pieces back on both sides and then see where we're at. So I tried to put the other side on, and it was a pain in the butt, this part here, for whatever reason. So what I ended up doing, which seemed to work, was get this put on first, and then get the plastic weather stripping wrapped around the edge. Should fit on there nicely. Okay, so it looks like I got it wrapped up there. Then sorry about that, there's a push pin that goes in and holds this weather strip in, and it's down here, and there's a hole in the metal part. So we're gonna get the push pin put in the plastic, I guess, first. Maybe that's easier. And then get it pushed into the hole. And that's not okay. That's pushed down all the way. Make sure this is still wrapped around here. And then take the two 30mm bolts. So then we put this in here and make sure you're pushing into the weather strip, and then I put in the 30mm bolts through both of their holes, and then I try and put it on at the same time. For some reason it's hard to put this back in. So let's get the 30mm bolts started here. Okay, I think I finally got that one. This one should be right here. Okay, hallelujah. So I don't tighten it all the way. Need to have a little bit of movement here. Then push this far enough to get the top one. Should line up close enough where you can get this in. And then hopefully the middle one will line up. Looks like it does. So that made it a little bit easier to get this put back on. So I'm just going to push in, tighten these, and I'm on the way out. And then tighten the 30mm ones. They actually seem to work out okay. Well, hopefully that's a slightly easier way to get them back in, because I had problems with these. I had to take it out 3 or 4 times. But, all right, those are back in. Oh, I almost forgot to put the weather stripping back in. These pieces have this clip and it usually will fall out, but it's easy enough to put it back in. Nice rubber piece here. So I got it back in, and then that hooks on at this top hole here. But to put this back, you basically push it all back in, hook up the top, and then push the filler strip in the channel. All the way down to the bottom. And this is the seal for the rear quarter window. Okay, I think that's back in. I'll go do the other side. Same deal, clip came out. If it stays in the metal piece, then you need to pry it out so you can get it back onto the rubber, like that. Slide it down. Get the clip part in, and then push it back in. All the way down. Just verifying I got it pushed all the way. Okay, that's that. Alright, this is what it looks like after I did it. Lots of wrinkles. I winged it down here at the back since I had no line at all, and the back part here looks good and the seams line up, so I got it centered. It's just this quarter panel part, which I knew was going to be hard, isn't that good. And then I've got another big fold here, so I'm gonna take it back out and try to pull this fabric down lower down and at an angle, because that seems like what needs to happen, but I may make it worse, who knows. So wish me luck. I gotta take this whole hoop back out. So here I have laid the old one over the new one just to see how close I was, and this line is where the top of it was stapled before, right on top of the bar, and I got that pretty darn right on. The seams are right, and then right here, this is the quarter panel part. This line is where I had it, and I cut this part here where the line was at the top of the bar on the old one so I could transfer it to the new one. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's the line that I had is pretty darn close, and this is the line that I had, and this is the line for the old top, and it's 1/2 inch on this side from here to here. And is that enough to get out all those wrinkles? I don't know. There's more between the two lines on the other side. So that side not quite as close, but here is my old top line that I transferred, and here's where I had it right here. And you know, since this is going to be now on the bar, it's going to pull the fabric down and theoretically make that tighter here. So is an inch or so enough on this side? I hope so. If it is 1/2 inch on the other side, I sure hope it turns out good. But that's how I did the transferring. I didn't figure out any other way, and I didn't figure this out until I actually put the top in, and it looked like crap. So this is definitely where the old top of the bar was, definitely right here. So if it doesn't look awesome after this, I'm not sure what the deal is. Okay, I got it stapled on my new line here, which supposedly follows the line of the old one. We'll see. Yeah, just a regular cheap staple gun, so wasn't quite powerful enough, but I also stapled on these things. So it's ready to go back in. Hopefully this part will be much better than it was. Alright, this is the third and last time I'm gonna take this thing out. I've been trying to adjust it so it looks somewhat decent, and so far the first time sucked and the second time was a little better. I basically stressed it even more than my previous line was, somewhere down here. So that's another 3/4 of an inch, and you know, I pulled here until the front started coming up, so that was probably too much. And then on the sides I just pulled down quite a bit. Here's my previous line, here's my current line, so that's another inch in some spots. So if that doesn't tighten it up, make it look decent, I'm just gonna deal with it. But this is an eBay top. It costs $175. Everything's nice on it, except it didn't come with the guideline back here, and you know, trying to trace the old top you think would have worked. That's what I did the second time, but they're just not exactly the same top. So even though they should line up, it didn't work that way, because after the second time and I did that, it still looked like crap. So third time's a charm, I hope. Let's see what happens when we put it all back together. Alright, this is what it looks like after the third time I tried to tension it. Looks like this side might turn out okay. Top looks okay, but this side, I really thought I've taken up as a ton of fabric on this side, and now it's I've got a gap here, and I'm having a hard time closing it, so I probably got it too tight. And since it's cheap vinyl on an eBay cheap top, it's probably gonna rip, so I'm sitting it in the sun and I'm gonna try to close it. But if I have to pull too hard, I'm not going to try much further, and I'm gonna have to take it out again and loosen probably the staples back here on the back side. I probably got those too tight now, so we'll see if I can get it latched. It's been in the sun for a few hours and it's hot, definitely hot, so if it doesn't stretch enough, I don't know how long I'm gonna leave it. This is my fourth try, so I left this here, and then it really looked like the seam was super tight before this was getting tight, so I moved it between the two lines I had, and then this side was loose, so I basically went down ½ an inch over here because it looked like it was up ½ an inch higher than the other side, but this is all speculation. But fourth time's a charm, question mark. All right, I did the same thing. I left this line alone, and then I moved this ½ an inch that way because I really seemed like it was too tight on both seams. And my other line is here, so it's in between both of those lines, and I kind of just had it gradually go in here and then back out, because this side I thought was right on, so it's kind of a little bit looser from here to here. Same thing over here. I hope that's enough to get it to close and tighten up this side. Like I said, this is my fourth try. Okay, this is the fifth and final time. I am not going to do this again. So the last fourth time I moved the seam in halfway between my original mark and the new mark, and that still didn't work. This part was too tight, so I moved it that way between the two marks that I had. This one was, in my opinion, too loose. This one was way too tight, so I went in between now through the whole backside here, plus the corner, and then I had to adjust this side down ½ an inch, I think, because it was not looking good. And then this side, this fifth time I left it alone. Actually, I left both sides alone for the fifth time, and I only moved this part. And as you can see, it's now between the two lines. So this is it. This is the final time. If I can't get it closed, I'm gonna force it closed somehow, and if it rips, it rips. Okay, since this is now my fifth time of putting this back in, taking it out, I think I have it down on how to get it in. So I basically have the roof pretty much down, and then you can easily push this side in with no issue. Get that down in there. So we got that side in. And then this side should have a little more play in it, theoretically. So I'm just going to shove it in here, pressing this side because it's bending, and then pushing it in. See, it's almost in. A little persuasion here. There we go. Not too bad. And then slide this toward the back. Find the bar in here. Slide it towards the back. There we go. And then put the top up halfway, and should be able to connect the U-bar. You can slide this back. And then start connecting the 4 bolts that go into the U-bar here, and then I'm going to, once I get those connected, I'm going to put the top down and see if it is even thinking about connecting or latching at the front. But I'm not going to do it again, so this will be the final time I do it. And now here's the part you've probably all been waiting for. Here is the finished product. Here's the front. Yes, it's already gotten rained on and stuff. Here's the top. Here's the quarter panel. That was super frustrating to get it right. There's the glass window and the defroster, and then the back edge. And here's the other quarter panel and the other side. So this is an eBay top, and it cost $175. And I think it's actually not too bad of a top. I don't know how long it's going to last, but like I said, there were some frustrations putting it in, and but in the end, I think it turned out okay, and I'm happy with it. And hopefully, if you decide to tackle this project, you'll get good results like I did, and maybe less frustration. So until next time, please like and subscribe. Getting really close to 1,000 subscribers, and I'd like to get there. Thanks.